Hey, welcome to Bald Guys Talking Football. This is week 12 of the podcast, and joined with me, as always, is my co-host, David Kochanowski. What's up, quiet guy?
Not much. I'm going to be a little bit more louder, a little more aggressive.
Awesome. And
We'll
we
make
got a
this
special
about a
guest.
3-hour podcast.
And all the way from Iowa, we got a special guest, the most interesting guy in the world. What's up, Brad?
How's it going? Glad to be a part of this. I got my Rex Grossman jersey on. It's my only jersey I actually own. So throwback.
Well, at least you wore one.
That's true. I thought that was a requirement. I haven't watched all these. I've watched a number of them, so I figured I had to bust it out.
Some guys do, some guys don't. Some guys drink a beer. Some guys talk about candy. It's been a very weird and inconsistent podcast.
Fair enough.
To each their own, right?
Right.
Dave, what are you wearing today?
I got another Syracuse. I've got the Syracuse home jersey on. I had the white one before. This one's the blue one.
Is that anybody specific, though?
Nah, just the Syracuse across the back.
Okay. As always, we start off the show with the beer of the week. Dave, what you got this week?
I got some nice motor oil. I'm starting with the Bitch and Betty from Off Square Brewing in Indiana. They've been pretty good. They've got another one that I've had. I'm gonna wait for you to come over. It's a s'mores beer with coconut. This one's a barrel-aged beer with chocolate, vanilla, and hazelnut. It's not too bad. It's pretty balanced.
Save that one for
hazelnut.
Save that one for the Thursday night Bears versus Cowboys live podcast, right?
Monday night, I think.
I thought. It isn't. I thought it was a Thursday night. Okay, whatever. Brad, you got a beer for us this week?
I do. So I'm actually double fisting tonight. So I'm drinking Des Moines IPA. So Dave kind of challenged me to get some local beers here. This is probably my favorite. Just a pretty good, simple IPA. Got some fruity flavors there. So drinking that, and then also to represent Iowa, I've got a little sipping glass of some whiskey. So this is a new local distillery, Iowa Legendary. So there's some controversy going on. Templeton is probably the most famous Iowa distillery, but part of it's made in Indiana. So apparently this is the original bootleg version of the Templeton. So there's some.
It's a rye too. Ooh.
Folks. So it's made very similar there. So good stuff. handcrafted here. And then actually when I was at the store, I'm not going to be drinking this today, but I ran into this it's called King Sue. So people are pretty familiar with pseudo Sue.
Oh yeah.
This is the original version of that. And I don't know why they don't make it much, but this is sold for like $200 a bottle back in the day. I don't think it's that rare anymore, but this was the original version of pseudo Sue called King Sue. So it's not cold, so I'm going to have to save that for another day, but I couldn't pass it up at the grocery store.
Nice, Brett. You're making up for PJ and Sean for the lack thereof.
Sparkling water.
Brad, you check out last week?
I did. I saw part of it. I think PJ was drinking the sparkling water, if I recall.
I was rocking the Blattons, though. I figured the whiskey connoisseur over there might like that. This week, I am doing another local. We've had I did Son of Juice once from them. Now I got Charlatan. It's what's it called?
Double IPA, right?
Yeah, Maplewood Brewing again. No, it's an American Pale Ale. So it's kind of good. A little sweet, a little fruity. Not a high ABV on it, so I like it. I can do the podcast and not fall over. So, and always
I'll do the falling over here.
And always, we cheers to the person out of the survivor pool, and we can cheers this week to a champion. PJ, way to go. Ken, sorry you lost, buddy. Cheers.
Cheers to
so's PJ. His reign will be short-lived. He's got one loss on the year, and
yeah, I hope that's all he wins this year, right? So then you got Ken getting knocked out, and then I also would like to do a little out of the playoffs cheers to both Scott and Laura, who are mathematically out of it pretty much now. So cheers, guys.
Enjoy your chop.
So,
well, his own brother pretty much put the nail in his coffin too. That was pretty mean.
Brad, that was savage over there.
It was, yeah. Some,
had to be done. At least it was family.
Sometimes people are suffering; they just need to be put out of the miseries.
Not all of us can make the playoffs.
I'm rocking in that weak division. I'm glad. Whether I get the bye or not, I'm in the playoffs. So as always, as we've done the last couple weeks now, our 2-minute drill, we're just checking playoff updates. It's almost solidified. But basically you still got PJ and me in first and second. PJ's 10-1. He's locked in his bye. I'm sitting at 8-3. A couple guys nipping at my heels right now. You got Dave and Dom. Ooh, excuse me. Dave, Dom, and Brad all at 7-4, nipping at my heels. Ken dropped down to or Ken's technically still fourth place because of his division. And Sean's sitting there at 5-6, seventh place, still mathematically in it. So I threw up the strength of schedule of the remaining teams and stuff. How we look? What are you guys thinking, Brad? How's this play out at the end of the year? Who's somebody catch me with that bye? And who are the final teams?
I think it's kind of up for grabs. You've got, PJ is looking strong. Who knew Lamar Jackson would be as strong as he has? I mean, I listened to a radio show during the week, and the Ravens are kind of favorites for Super Bowl now. Didn't see that coming going into the year. And then we've got DJ Clark that's really had quite a year. I don't know if it's going to be sustainable. He's had a lot of big touchdown games, so we'll see. But he's still looking like the top dog. Ken's looking good. Sean's looking good. Dave and Niz, they're all looking good. So I like my team. I'm not over the moon, but I feel like I'm in it. I've got some players that can make some moves. They say they're going to use Gurley more down the stretch, so we'll see. It's up for grabs for my chair.
Yeah, he was catching balls against the Bears the other day, which I think that's the big thing that he hadn't been really doing this year, the big difference. So Gurley might pay off. I got him in my other league, so he's been solid, but just not great,
Yeah, I'm banging on Devontae Adams. I mean, 0 touchdowns, and he's still scoring points. So eventually he's got to score. So we'll see what happens.
Dave, how's this play out for you?
Well, I think you got to look at does Sean sneak in at all? Do you think he has a chance to sneak in?
So according to my rankings, he's got the 6th out of 7 hardest schedule. He plays Ken this week, and he plays me the last week. So that's tough. I don't think he makes it. I mean, he's basically got to win out because let me see.
Yeah, he's got to win out for sure. Yeah, I don't think he's going to sneak in. I am crossing my fingers that you lose that bye that you so much covet, especially to me. And it'll be interesting. It's going to come down to me and Dom flip-flopping because Brad can't get it in ahead of his in the top of his division. And then you got Sean maybe possibly taking out Ken is the
well, he's got to win out, like you said, because if he wins this week, they'll be tied. And going into next week, if he loses and Ken loses, Ken's got so much more points than him that he's gonna own the tiebreaker on it. But yeah, he basically has to win out.
Yep. And I got a tough team this week and then a pretty easy team next week. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Who's your tough team against this week?
I got Dom.
Dom's been soaring too. So
yeah, I beat him a couple weeks ago. We'll see if I can do it again. And Hopkins just scored.
Yeah, Scotty. You play Scotty. I know he's technically ranked 9th, but I mean, it took every ounce of Brad's team basically to beat him last week. So he's not a pushover either.
No, he's not. But I feel pretty confident. I think I'll get in. But yeah, Dom's already up on me, I think, by quite a bit because Hopkins just scored another touchdown. Dom's up. Hopkins scored 20 points already. What's that?
Hopkins is looking tough. He's already way ahead.
Yeah, he finally decided to play this week, of course.
So I play Maddie, and then I play Sean. So I technically have the easiest schedule going forward, but I'm not, Maddie's played tough in the stretch, and so is Sean.
How many points you put up this week?
Dave's team too. But here's the thing. I'm finally healthy. Like, it's finally healthy. I'm done with buys. I went through a couple weeks there where I've lost 2 in a row that I didn't have my best players playing and stuff. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But
healthy for you means you're going to start Adrian Peterson? Is that healthy?
Against the New York Jets? Possibly. I mean, no, I'd much rather have Matt Breida there. But, I mean –
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maddie's got a shot this week.
We'll get to it in the matchups. But, so what are you saying? Do I keep my bye or not? Brad, what do you think?
I think I'm with you, Liz. I mean, I think you're sorry, I'm looking down at my app here a little bit to see this week, but yeah, I don't see how you lose this week, and I don't know who you're playing next week, but I think you're looking okay. So even if you split them, I think you're still in the bye, right?
Yeah, I basically need to win.
No, he's got to. If he loses one and I win out, he's going to lose on points.
Yeah.
In that week schedule that he plays.
All right. Well,
the Scotty commemorative horseshoe up your ass award goes to you.
I'm okay with it as long as I get money at the end. I'm good.
I'd be okay with it too as long as I won the championship like you did.
I haven't won anything yet. We'll see what happens. But so moving on, we'll go over the matchups from the previous week. Did I have the wrong one up?
No, it's previous matchups. There's no real news to talk about, so
no news. It says me versus Brad. I don't think that's right, though.
That's not this week, so I don't know.
You want me to do it?
No, it was me versus PJ. No, who did I play last week? Was it you, Brad?
I got it.
Winston.
You want me to go?
It is me versus Brad. So I lost to Brad. I scored 74.16 versus Brad's 90.32. Deshaun Watson. I had to play Jack Doyle, who got 0 points, even though he was healthy. Peterson only got me 4 points. Kenny Stills 4.7. It was a rough week. I had to play Sanders versus New England's defense. I mean, I had very little options there. I should have played Fitzgerald and Ryan on my bench, but even with that, I might have pulled it. I might have pulled it off, but yeah, Brad beat me pretty solidly. Winston, Gurley, Andrews all did well. So, yeah. Any thoughts on that matchup?
Brad,
I think I got lucky on that one. To be honest with you, I didn't have a great showing and just kind of won the points game there. So I'm really hoping. I need a strong finish. I need Gordon to do something. He's not really done much this year. I'm looking at starting Jimmy G this week, going with the hot hand. So we'll see. I would have had a real beat down if I would have played him last week.
Yeah, he did well. 32.66 sitting on your bench. So, what's the matchup this week with him?
He's playing at Green Bay, so a tough matchup. But I figure if it's a close game, they'll keep throwing. Winston went out with a toe injury, so I'm not sure if there's anything to that. But we'll keep. Right now, I've got Jimmy G in there, but I'll keep looking at that. I may make a switch. But I haven't really played him much this year. He's had a couple good games, so I think to beat PJ, I need to. Winston's been pretty safe as far as about 20 points a game. So if I want to kind of get a big week, Jimmy G's been hot or cold. So I think that's the risk I got to take this week.
And that's actually kind of interesting because Winston's going up against Atlanta. Atlanta has all year long has been like sort of the bad defense, to play against. But the last 2 weeks, they've shut down teams. Like they're deep. I don't know. Ever since they came off the bye, I guess Dan Quinn, the head coach, has given up defensive play calling over there, and they've just looked really good. They shut down Drew Brees and they shut down Carolina last week. So. Yeah, I'd probably make the same decision and go with Jimmy G, but that's kind of interesting. Dave, any thoughts?
So just so you know, Adrian Peterson played the Jets this week, and he put up 4 points for you. So, I don't have any faith in AP, and even if he is playing the Jets and putting up 4 points for you, that's not enough.
No,
and you get Lockett back in your starting lineup. Who knows about Ingram? What's wrong with Ingram?
well, I picked up Ryan Griffin, which I'm totally surprised that everybody let me pick him up, but he's had 2 number 1 finishes in the last 4 weeks. Like he's really come on and stuff. So he was sort of I was really surprised that they let. I'm going to put him on a 2-year just to see where he's at. So he's been pretty good. So
I'm gonna challenge you, man. Looking at this lineup, okay, you got Lockett out.
Well, let's get to that when we go.
Right.
When we go up against the verses. This is last week's recap. Memo versus Maddie. Memo again shit the bed 76.18 versus Maddie's 94.78. Maddie had two goose eggs on there with both OJ Howard and Robinson getting them 0 points, yet he still beat Memo's team. Juju, it's tough because the last couple of weeks Cohen's scored for him and he's had him on his bench. So Juju, James Conner, Westbrook, all in the single digits. Mahomes only had 16.18 for him. So just a tough run for Memo there, right?
Yeah, I just don't get it. But yeah, I mean, he's been out of it for so long and hasn't made any moves to, I don't know.
Well, at this point, he's not going to make any moves,
There's a couple guys you could drop and trade. You could get some.
They can't trade anymore.
Contracts. But, back when you could have.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. Weird. Especially from the guy that wanted to trade every day all the time, and now it's just like ghost.
Well,
past the trade deadline, what do you want him to trade?
No. But before, he wasn't. He traded that.
That's true.
Once he officially was out of it. But this is a guy that loves to trade and loves to do that stuff, and I don't see him positioned to make himself better. You had Sony Michel up for bid, and you had 2 people bidding on Sony Michel. You have 4 people essentially out of it, and 2 people are bidding on him, and those 2 people are active and doing stuff, and the other 2 guys are just asleep at the wheel. So it's I don't know.
biggest upset of the week, Ken versus Maddie. Maddie ended up winning 115.02 to Ken's. Is this Ken's second sub 100 week in a row there? I think he had it last week too. So,
no,
Maddie,
he was 117.
Last week?
No, 117. Yeah, this past week. It's not sub 100, but he lost to Maddie and Darren back to back.
Okay. So Maddie, double digits across the board except for his defense. So he had a really solid week. Nobody really great. Golden Tate was 21.5. That was his best player. Maddie had Ken had Cooper Kupp, David Montgomery, Dwelly. Just not a great showing from Barkley didn't show up. So it was a rough one for him. So he's lost 2 in a row now.
Yeah, it's a little interesting his last couple weeks. I mean, Kupp has been down. Edelman's been good. Who else was it? I'm just surprised. He's going through a little rough patch right now. I don't know that it's like he's got that heavy hitter beyond McCaffrey right now.
Yeah, I think Barkley's definitely hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, and he said as much. He's not 100%, so that could prove to hurt him down the road. Although, I don't know that Chubb would be that much better. It's Eckler putting up 18 points is a hell of a play, though, especially considering he was supposed to fall off and not be up that high. So he put in Hill, which was interesting. He won that bidding war, and Hill didn't really do anything. Montgomery, though, isn't really doing much. Keenan Allen finally did something. He was on his bench. So he's going to have some tough choices coming up when he fills his lineup up.
Yeah, because some of those guys are like hit or miss, so you never know what's going to happen there,
It really is. It's like I felt like, and it didn't matter who he put in at the beginning of the season, he was crushing it. Now it's a little turbulent, and he's got some tough choices coming up. Again, it was like, I'll just put Kupp in, and Kupp hasn't performed in the last, 3 weeks now?
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Ken. I mean, honestly, out of all of us,
I read there's some drama on the sideline there. So I think he's going to have a rough stretch going into the playoffs. So we'll see.
I agree with you. It's going to be interesting with Ken's team. I feel like he's got a lot of guys there that are kind of up and down. And, I thought he was going to cruise. And now you look at it, like, I hate to admit it, I don't want to say it, but PJ's got the most consistency. I just wait for him to tail off and hit his losing streak. Hopefully it'll start in the next week or two.
But on the other hand, you look at, he's got McCaffrey who's been consistent. Prescott's been pretty good. So, I mean, he lost with 117 points. There's maybe one other team that he would have lost to all week with that score. So you can't say it's just a total loss either.
No, it's just he was cruising and crushing, and now I think he's got a little more tougher choices when he fills up the lineup. That's what I'm getting at.
Actually, there was 3 teams he would have lost to. He would have lost to you, Dave, by half a point. That would have been a matchup, huh?
And I had somebody sitting on the bench that would have gave me another 14, 15 points this week. I made a stupid move at the last minute.
So we'll get to your matchup right now. Dave versus Laura. Knock Laura out of the playoffs. My
told you she wasn't a playoff team. From
best team in the league. Geez, come on. How can you beat Laura's team? Did you see how awesome her team? No.
I was really looking at a bedazzled trophy. I was looking forward to that again, and you ruined it, Dave.
I didn't want that fucking shit. Wait till I get the trophy.
I mean, you got to admit you're a little worried, and then Tyreek Hill came up lame, in the first series of that game. So she got a goose egg out of Tyreek Hill and ended up losing by less than 10 points. Most weeks you're going to lose that.
That being said, I put Tevin Coleman in at the last minute over Mark Ingram. And had I had Mark Ingram in there, it wouldn't have probably mattered either way. But that's the thing about making those choices. That's why it's like Ken's got 5 of those choices to make because he's got a lot of good players. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, I thank God Tyreek Hill pulled up lane.
So what are you doing next week? Is it Darnold or Rodgers? Because Rodgers has sucked ever since you got with your team.
Not even normally, if I had the faith in Rodgers, I would have dumped Darnold and picked up my tight end. So yeah, it's going to be Darnold because I kept him. I was planning on getting rid of him. He's got a nice stretch coming up. So
yeah, it might be your playoff quarterback that you've been searching for this whole time.
Hey man, Darnold and Crowder, touchdown connection, baby.
Yeah, that's 3 straight for Crowder from 3 straight weeks with the touchdown for Crowder. So that's kind of awesome. PJ versus Scott. Scott had been rolling here ever since he made some changes to his team. Chubb didn't show up. I think he's getting hurt by the Hunt pick up there. So Scotty only scored 82.04 points versus PJ's another really just he keeps getting that 130 to 150 every week. He ended up going 138.38. Really good showing out of PJ. I don't know what else to talk about here, but Scott's out of the playoffs too. Cheers, Scott.
Yeah, Scotty's gone. He had a lot of guys on bye this week, though. Baltimore scored 15 on the bench. Come on, man. You got to play that. You got to know they're going to score 15.
Well, I think
yeah.
this is the first year that I can remember that Scott's not in the playoffs. Like, this is kind of rare for Scott. Like, he's a pretty good fantasy owner in all the leagues we play in. Can you guys remember last time he wasn't in a playoff?
Not really. He's always a contender.
Yeah, I think it's different. Like being in the playoffs, and I don't know. Like I showed it in baseball. I felt like I gave up on my team too quick. I know that. But if I feel like I'm not going to win the championship or be in a top 4 position, I'd rather rebuild and retool for next year, as opposed to being 8th or 7th. Although PJ proved me wrong because he made a run into the baseball playoffs. So it's weird on how you view that stuff, you know. But yeah,
I feel like Scott always goes into the mid-season trying to with a lot of money and tries to pick somebody up. I don't think he made any big trades before the deadline, so I don't know if he felt like he was out of it. But
he did the Chubb Saquon thing.
Yeah,
he traded up Saquon to stay in it. So, and that was a big bold move by him. So
he made a couple of those this year, I think.
Yeah, he's always in it to win it. But people have different type of strategies, and you look at, hey, man, I've made the championship game 3 of the last 5 years, and I think 3 years, I've done obviously well, and probably those other 2 years, I probably didn't make the playoffs.
Our final matchup of the week was Sean versus Dom. Sort of finished off how we thought it would. Dom ended up winning this one. 110.32 to Sean's 101.9.
No, I'm mad, man. I told my second team, play Devontae Parker, man. Play that motherfucker. Play him over.
How do you sit that guy now? He's been so consistent lately.
Yeah, I'm mad at Sean. Sean just totally pissed me off. I needed Dom to lose. We're tied again. We're both behind you. Damn you, Sean. I gave you the players to do shit with, and this is what you do.
Well, I mean, Dom has John Brown that's just been like just crazy good down in Buffalo. And then he's got the consistency of Cook, and like his team was really consistent this week. Ronald Jones. So he's been playing that guy for the last couple of weeks. Remember when he made that pickup and we were like, ooh, that's kind of sneaky. Dom might have like a stud team here. And ever since they announced Ronald Jones was the number 1 back there, his carries, his snap percentage has gone down and his carries have gone down. Like, what's going on there? Like, you're the number 1 running back and you get announced as the number 1 running back and now you're doing worse. What the hell?
Yeah. And Sanders only put up 4.8 points. I think he's hurting.
Well, he's hurt, yeah.
He lost Austin Hooper, and he was doubling up on the tight ends. So that kind of hurt him too. His running back situation's almost as bad as yours.
Oh, he's got
Dalvin Cook, and
that's it.
mismatch after that.
Frank Gore.
I mean, yeah, Frank Gore and Ronald Jones the second. That's the hey man, you said yourself. It's all about the running backs.
So we're gonna try something different for the guest topic this week. My boy Brad over here is gotten a little crazy, so we're gonna try to make this work. Hopefully, you guys have been, complaining that we're doing this on YouTube, but Brad brought visuals this week, so we're gonna try to make it so you guys can see it on there. Brad, what's your topic of the week?
Yeah, so really, this was a little bit personal, a little close to home. I feel like on this podcast and just in general, there's kind of some shaming if you don't make that many moves. So sometimes I feel like there's a lot of moving for the sake of moving. I'm going to make this trade, which doesn't necessarily make any team better. So what I really looked at is, does it really make a difference if you make a lot of trades, you make a lot of moves? Does it make your team better? So what I did, and I really shout out to the math nerds and the Excel nerds out there, I pulled 3 years worth of data and looked at, is there a correlation between the number of moves you make and and your actually number of wins? So I don't know if you're able to pull up that chart, but what I really found is when you look at the last 3 years, there's really basically no correlation at all. So tiny positive correlation if you look at the wins versus the moves. You can kind of see right to left, the fewest moves on the left, all the way to the right, the most moves, and that blue line there, that's the trend line, and it's absolutely flat.
Now let's preface that this is trades and pickups.
This is all moves, yeah. So any move, It could be a pickup, it could be a trade, anything there. So really, what this tells you is it doesn't make a difference. And I'm always one that I'm on the lower end of that, and I think I put some good teams together. This year in particular, I tried to make some mid-season moves. Had a couple deals out there that fell through, so I wanted to pick up, but there's a lot of trades that I turned down, and I feel like I got shamed a bit for that at times. And at the end of the day, like, if I'm going to make a trade, it's got to make me better. And I felt like I've been in it all year round, and I had some players that were hurt. I had some players like Melvin Gordon and Devontae Adams that haven't done what they could. Gurley's in that mix, so I've always felt good about my team, and every trade that was presented to me didn't make my team better. So I didn't make a whole lot of trades this year. But to be fair, so now you zoom in a little bit. So this is really a shout out to those math nerds. What I did was, okay, you look at the overall trend, it's flat. There's a slight correlation to more trades. But I said, let's just exclude everything outside of one standard deviation. So Niz, if you want to pull that up there. And to be fair, there actually is a trend, right? So if you zoom in and exclude the outliers, and really this is the Matty effect, because Matty,
you got to get rid of Matty.
The numbers, just
he brings down the win percentage.
He absolutely does. So
I'm sorry,
you zoom in, and there is a trend. That way. So maybe I need to make more trades. Maybe I need to do more activity, because when you zoom in, get rid of those outliers. There is actually a positive trend. So this is not what I was looking for. I tend to be on the lower end of the trading dynamic here, so I might need to up my game there.
Well, and I'll say this too. You also have to look at on wins. So there's wins. I have 11 wins in one season, and made 7 moves. I didn't make a lot of moves because I didn't need to. So I didn't make a lot of drops, but I guarantee you, of those 7, probably a couple of them are trades. So you also have to look at that aspect too when you're looking at that overall scope. Because to me, you get forced into making trades. I could have a great team through the whole season, but somebody makes a couple trades and then puts the pressure on you to make some trades just to make sure that you've got your team stacked the way it needs to be against them.
Well, it's kind of how the league's designed, right? Because you got to get in, you got to be competing halfway through, and then you kind of have the haves and the have-nots, and you got to make some. You have to, but generally you make a couple trades before the deadline, where people are out of it. Maybe you pick up a key player there. So I'm hoping to buck that trend this year. I only made a single trade this year.
No, and you didn't, and that's fine. I feel like sometimes it's just like, I remember a specific year that I was doing really well, and I'm pretty sure it was Scotty and somebody else, and they made their moves, and it puts pressure on you that like, oh shit, all right, I've been doing good, I've been up here, but now I need to make sure that I stay ahead of the game and make the moves I need to make to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, because I'm looking at this going, it almost looks like the people that make the moves are the ones that are, typically up there. I mean, like you guys said, Matty aside this year, who's made just a shit ton of moves, but
that's every year. I mean, Matty, I think I looked at the last 3 years. I think every year he's in the top three. So if you go back to the other chart, if you look at the most right moves, I think all of them were Matty.
Well, and that also goes back to when when I'm not doing well and I'm out of it, I'll make moves. I will go through and start looking at teams and be like, okay, maybe I can pick this player off. Maybe I can take this contract from them if I give them a couple bucks and I can get back a 3-year and stuff like that. So even when you're losing, that's where I come back to. I want to stay active to be able to get as much assets, whether it's a contract, whether it's a player, whether I'm picking up somebody for 1 year and putting them on that contract. I think the more active you stay, the better off you're going to be, depending on what you're doing with that activity, of course. But that's why I go back to it, and I bring it up a lot because that's how I play.
I think it's important to be active whether you're winning or losing, no matter what, because like there's a year in here that I'm looking at. Like I know that was the year that like I traded off to Sean, and Sean was really good after that. But that set me up for a couple years where I had some solid players like Michael Thomas, Deshaun Watson, a couple other guys that like I've been able to sort of just keep as my mainstays and stuff. Like my fantasy MVP this year is the guy who's caught 94 passes and the quickest guy to get to that point in this year is Michael Thomas. I got that from Sean. Like he's been just paying off dividends for me. So, I mean, you got to be making the moves, whether you're in it or not, just to always make sure that you're setting yourself up, even if you're down. That I think that's why you've consistently harped on Memo, is because he even though he's down, he could be making moves to make his team better, set him up so he's not in that same spot next year, right?
Exactly. I'm not harping on him because I want to harp on him. I'm harping on him because like I don't get it. The guy that went from almost being too much, all right, man, you don't have to trade every week or every day, to now it's like nothing. I want everybody to be competitive, and the more people that are competitive, the more I think the league is fun. The more that people just sleep on things, it's who's been kicked out of the league. I haven't been kicked out of the league. I'm pretty sure some people want to kick me out of the league, but whatever. But it's just like, Pete's been gone because he didn't do anything, because he wasn't interested in having fun with it, I think, the way that we all do. So it's interesting. I like that you pulled up that chart. That's a lot of numbers, and it's very interesting to see.
Well, thanks, Brad, on that. What we'll do now is we'll go back to the regular screen, and we'll move on to this week's matchups. So we'll start off. This is, I think I had it listed as the Poop Bowl of all time. It's Memo versus Darren this week.
I thought we had the Poop Bowl last week.
Well, this is the all-time Poop Bowl. So.
Oh, I get it.
So
how is Matty not in the all-time Poop Bowl? Like being a Jets fan and stuff like that, I would think he should automatically be included in this.
And him having such a good fantasy baseball team and not winning it this year, what the hell? He's all-time Poop Bowl, right?
Just so we know, I this is the other thing. I don't know how much Ken watches this, but Ken, ever since you changed your team to feeling bad for Matty, and you've included Matty in the name of your team, I think you're 0-2. So just a heads up there, buddy. You might want to change that.
So right now, currently, Darren's projected to win against Memo's team, but Memo hasn't switched out Patrick Mahomes yet. So Memo's got a bunch of guys that are questionable, going hurt. The two Pittsburgh guys, James Conner and Juju Smith-Schuster, are both injured going into this week. He's got Darren's got two guys going right now. He's at 7.5 versus Memo's 7.1. What do you guys think? Who's winning this matchup this week? I think, to me, it's Memo, to me, it's Darren. But what do you guys think?
I think it's going to be.
Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Coming in with a hot take.
Move on. Let's get to the next matchup.
I was going to say, I just don't there's a 50-50 chance Patrick Mahomes could be starting this week for him. I'm just saying. But I agree with Brad. It doesn't matter. Moving along. Darren.
Battle of the teams out last week. I named every single matchup. I don't know if you guys realize that. This is the battle of the teams out last week. Laura versus Scott. Right now, the current projection has Laura. Hold on. Sorry, I got to pull it up. Laura's got 6 points.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, Laura's down by 1 point to Scotty.
Laura's
she was projected to win, but I don't know who's playing. But rough start, I guess.
Well, Laura's got Carlos Hyde in there right now. There's less than 2 minutes left, and she's only got 6.7 points out of him. So,
and they're up.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but let's take a look at this matchup. Brad, how do you break this one down?
I got to go back to it. I don't know if it matters too much, but yeah, it's an evenly matched game. I guess if you're a fantasy fan, I guess it's a close one. Baltimore's defense that looks a little bit under projected points wise. Wilson versus Brady. I guess that's a good matchup there. Nick Chubb, I don't see him scoring 18 points.
Really, against Miami?
No, I think he's had a couple good games, but I don't see that. So I mean, this could go either way. Carson's been hot and cold. So yeah, if you really want a good competition, I suppose this is a good one because Yahoo says it's neck and neck. I don't see anything to disagree with that.
So I got a question.
Who do you pick, Brad, real quick before?
Huh?
If you had to, Brad, who are you picking then?
Geez. I'm going to go Laura, I guess.
Oh, wow. Okay. Dave.
So I got a question.
Okay.
So Scotty has everybody on bye basically this week. He has AJ Green starting, which I don't think he's going to start this week. He loves that guy. He's had him for the whole season. I assume he's got him on a multi-year contract, so I don't think he's going to have AJ Green in the game. So I'm going to go Laura.
Yeah, and Laura's got some really nice matchups there. Galladay versus Washington, Robbie Anderson versus Oakland, Le'Veon Bell versus Oakland, Lindsey versus Buffalo, which Buffalo's pass defense has been excellent, but they've been giving up the points to the running back. Vance McDonald versus Cincy, so I'm going to pick my wife as well. The best team.
If she only had AP against the Jets, she'd be a shoo-in.
You're a fucking asshole.
I know.
I know we don't swear that. Like the first week, I remember I felt like we swore a lot, but this week
I'm pushing it this week.
We haven't really sworn too much. But Dave, you're a fucking asshole.
I'm gonna call you out on silly shit you say. AP against the Jets this week.
No, I was looking at last week's stuff. Fuck you.
And you haven't even been drinking.
Hey. Battle of the Maddie Sucks Balls Bowl. It's me versus Maddie.
Whose balls is he sucking?
He's going to be sucking mine because I'm winning this week. So right now, let's see if they calculated it with my tight end in there. Yeah, right now I'm projected to win 108.56 versus Maddie's 92.71. We got nobody playing. I'm just letting you guys know, like in my thought process, I made a bold decision to go with Matt Ryan versus Tampa this week instead of Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson shit the bed for me last week, and I think it was just a tougher matchup here versus Indy. So hopefully it pays off for me. I think I've got it because Manny's team sucks. So what do you guys think?
It's looking like a good decision so far. But yeah, I don't see a reason why you lose this one. I mean, you got Peterson in the game, which
versus Detroit, by the way.
Yeah, good luck with that. But yeah, I don't see how you lose this one. I don't see one on Maddie's team that's going to have a breakout game. Maybe Kareem Hunt beats the projection. But yeah, I don't see how you lose.
Jacob versus the Jets scares me a little. So does Jones versus the Jets. So I mean, he's got Carr versus the Jets. How many Oakland players can he play?
You should have started
Betting
Watson.
against himself.
Yeah, it's tough. Again, I think I got the better team, so hopefully I win this one.
You got Kamara against Carolina. That's a big plus.
Yeah,
it is. I really want Maddie to win. Not gonna lie. The consensus in the league, because one person voted and everybody else sucks, but you're gonna win. God damn it.
Oh, wow.
Which hopefully means it'll have the opposite effect, but we'll see. Adrian Peterson against Detroit. I figure he's going to put up 2 points this week for you instead of 4.
Okay. So for the next matchup, I've named it PJ versus Brad, Battle of the Confusing Team Names.
I don't know where you came up with that one. Like, what? I think those are pretty straightforward names. Like, what's confusing?
Do you know, in all honesty, it's the Julie in Mr. Julie Ertz. Every time I look at it, it makes me want to go, oh, that's Brad's team. And then I look at it. And yeah, Dave's done the same thing a couple times this year. So it's more just him versus your team name. Like, I am a girlie's like, oh, yeah, that's definitely Brad. But his name's thrown me off a couple times this year. So right now,
I think PJ's got a crush on Zach Ertz's wife. Is what
Have you pulled her up? She's hot. She's a soccer player.
She's a soccer player. I did. Yeah. I guess I will say I was confused at first, and then I looked it up, and I guess I get it. So.
I hear she likes polo players.
Water polo players.
No, just polo on the horse.
Polo. Oh,
not water. Yeah.
Wrong polo.
You gotta be hung like a horse. Is that what you're saying?
Something like that. Yeah. You can't be drinking water, rosé stuff.
So PJ right now is set up to win this at 111.42 versus 98.37. Brad, what's your strategy this week? What's going to happen? How do you break this one down?
So I picked up Robbie Gould, my kicker's on bye, and I kind of doing like a formal homer pick there. So I don't know. He's listed as questionable now, and his value just dropped. So
he hasn't played the last couple of weeks, right?
No, he played last week, I think, but he was out of practice today. So maybe I didn't research that as well. I just looked at the top kickers on the wire and picked Gold because he played for Chicago, if I'm being honest. So we'll see. I got to look at where he's at tomorrow and may pick up someone else. But either he plays or I pick up someone that will play, and that's going to be a lot closer from a point spread. I can't say I'm a favorite for this, but I feel like I got a shot. As you go down the list, I've got Gurley that's been on the upswing. Devontae Adams, I need him to catch a touchdown, and then Jimmy G, I've got him in the game, and if he does a repeat of last week, will be great. Scary Terry, there's always that potential. He rips off a 50-yard touchdown, so I'm not the favorite by any means, but once I get a kicker in there, I'm right there, and I've got enough, between McLaren, Gurley, and Devontae Adams. If one of those guys goes off, which they could, I think I have a shot to win. So I'm not gonna pick myself, but I'm not gonna not. So
you're supposed to pick yourself.
So Brad, I'm gonna pick you.
I win.
There you go.
And again. PJ has won every game except for the first game.
First week.
Do you remember who he played the first game?
Yeah, it was a guy that lived in Iowa, I think.
It was. So he's clearly afraid. I'm in his head.
Avoided you the whole season. Why didn't you play Fuller this week, man?
I should have. I saw that because he had a good game, huh?
That motherfucker can run.
Yeah, so he's been. I played him a couple times. He's been kind of a bench. Holy cow, he finished 18. Yeah.
Yeah, 18, man. He is.
But you know what? We'll see. I mean, when I look at, I guess I would have put him in over Robinson if I had to.
No, Robinson versus Giants. I think that's guaranteed. I would have put him in over Devontae Adams, actually.
No, McLaren.
No, but I mean, Adams has been 15 points a game, and he hasn't scored a single touchdown all year.
He's going up against the number one pass defense in the league.
He's trying to get the Garoppolo Adams.
Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
I think your matchups are better. They really are, because you're looking at Freeman versus Buffalo, suspect run defense over there. Um, you got Robinson versus New York Giants, Andrews versus LA Rams. I mean, you do definitely have the better matchups. The one concern I have is like Garoppolo versus Green Bay. That's going to be a tough game for him. Devontae Adams versus San Francisco. That's a tough game. I don't see him scoring the 15 points.
I think I would go Winston over Garoppolo, honestly.
You know, it's not a done deal yet. I know that there was this toe injury that's got me a little scared, and Garoppolo had a huge game last week. So we'll see. I'm kind of thinking that could be a shootout, but I'm going to stay close to that. I'm going to research it tomorrow and Saturday, so that could be a change. But I look at the Garoppolo as a more bold move. I'm favored to lose, so I've got to do some shoot for the moon kind of stuff.
But at least you have a couple plus matchups there. I'm looking at the matchups there on PJ's side. He's got negative matchups across the board, I think. I can see his team underscoring where you might actually overscore. So I think it's going to be closer. I'm going to pick you just to be different. Dave, who do you got in this one?
It's going to be close. I'm going to go PJ only because he's hot. Nothing.
That's fair. I don't. I mean, if I was not biased, I would go PJ too. But I feel
honestly,
okay.
I just need PJ to win one more week and then start his losing streak.
So, are you going PJ, Brad? Because you said you.
No, I'm going to stay with myself. I'm gonna go. I mean, PJ's scared. You know, I'm just not faulting Dave. That's all.
And then we got Ken versus Sean, battle of the last chancers. So Sean needs to win out now. We've talked about it. He needs to win this one, and he needs Ken to lose and him to win next week too. So, it's going to be tough for them because he's got such a big point lead on him right now. He's projected to lose big time versus Ken.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah. Darren Fells. Oh, he tried to chase that last week because they were playing. They played Tampa last week, and he scored some points, but he only got 2.9 points out of him. So he's projected right now at 94.71 versus Ken's 125.06. I think it's a blowout here. I think Ken's got the team, but Dave, what do you think of your second team over there? Does he have a chance?
I'm going Ken.
Going Ken?
Yeah, Ken's even sitting Eckler this week, Allen this week. It just goes to show you how deep his roster is. He's got two great guys on. He's got Prescott on the bench as well. I'm gonna go Ken and hope that once he gets into the playoffs, things go weird for him. But yeah, that's 125 projected points is big.
Brad.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a way where I can pick Sean in this game. I can see Barkley doing worse than projection. Cooper Kupp, I think, will have a poor week, but even with those two, I mean, maybe we shave off 10 points there. Say Goff does a little better versus Baltimore. I think Landry could have a good week, but yeah, I don't see how you close that gap. So I'm going Ken as well.
Okay, and for our final matchup, we've got Battle of the Drunken Drafters, Dave versus Dom. Dave, what's your strategy this week?
Hopefully Hopkins has a horrible game, which that didn't happen. He exceeded his point spread by 8 points, so that's not good.
So right now, you're still projected to win at 105.35, but Dom's jumped up a little bit. He's right at nipping at your heels at 103.49. So he had Fairborn go today, got him 8 points. And then obviously Hopkins at 24.4. That's a huge game for him. So
yeah, I'm hoping Ronald Jones II and McKessick put up combined like 5 to 10 points, and then maybe I'll have a shot. So I'm hoping his weak running back class takes him out.
here's your issue, Dave. Just looking at the team, you got New England's defense, and you've got 2 Dallas Cowboys playing up against them. So if your offensive guys do well, your defense goes down in that instance. So it's going to be interesting because you're playing against yourself too a little bit here. So you got Cooper and Elliott both going up against New England's top-rated defense. So that's going to be tough. Brad, who do you got in this one?
I don't know. I'm looking at this, and Dave looked good before tonight, but Hopkins really went off. Yeah, geez,
but look at Ronald Jones II and McKissick. Come on, man.
I don't even know who McKissick is. I never
Exactly.
Detroit. He's going up against Washington.
String running back from Detroit.
But he's got 6 points. I mean, I'm pretty sure if they put me some pads on me, I could get 6 points.
Listen, all right, PJ's playing for Pittsburgh. You're now playing for fucking Detroit. What the fuck is going on?
All right,
I guess I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give Dave a 52% chance.
I give myself 51.
Dave, I got to pick you in here. Just you got the names definitely. Ingram, Elliott, Fournette, Cooper.
Motherfucker, I'd better win.
Yeah,
just based off
Hopkins has already done his stuff. The only player that really is just scares me at all on that team is Wentz, but he's playing against Seattle, so he's hit his bye week and stuff. I was going to say bipocalypse.
Well, we'll keep that word.
Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be tough because his boy who's been keeping him in it all year round, Dalvin Cook, is on a bye this week, so it's tough for him. So yeah,
honestly, I think you should just start Hooper, Sanu, and Sanders.
Really?
Yes. All because they're either hurt or questionable and probably won't play this week. But that's just my bias.
Well, if Hooper's good to go, that's I
don't think he is.
Versus New Jersey or New York Jets versus or Hooper versus
Hooper will not play.
Tampa.
I was just saying.
That's a tough one. Anyways, I still got Dave in this one. Brad, you got Dave?
Yeah, I'll go Dave.
Dave, you got Dom on this one?
Probably not. Dom better go down like a whore in church.
What? I've never heard that.
That's all I had.
Okay. So,
told you this was going to be a long podcast tonight.
What are we at right now? I don't even know.
Like an hour.
That's not terrible.
No, it's not.
We've done longer. So
no, I've seen Maddie go for 2 hours and pass out and then wake up.
Maddie complained about a long podcast and then he's got a 40-minute rant in the middle. So, anyways, that
I can't wait for the baseball podcast.
Oh, I can't wait either. I can't wait to be a guest on after doing this show.
I don't think we're going to be allowed.
I'm totally going to go out and just not talk. Just, just be a bad guest. But anyways, this is fun. Brad, thank you. Any last words for you?
No, it was fun. I really enjoyed doing this. I didn't know that I would as much. I'm glad you invited me.
No, yeah, we appreciate the graphics. It was fun. That we tried doing that in an earlier podcast this year, and it failed miserably because I forgot to hit the record button. This time I've triple checked. Definitely hit it on this one. So, Dave, any last thoughts?
No, Brad, thanks for coming on. Love the backdrop. Love the most interesting man in the world looking over you. Good luck, but not too much luck. And, Thanks for everybody listening.
And I do have a final thought this week. It's on a serious note. Maddie, you suck, and I'm going to beat you this week. Thank you.
Does he suck your balls?
Apparently he does. Thank you for listening, guys. This has been Bald Guys Talking Football. Brad, shave your head next time, okay? Good night, guys.